Devil, 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 get out of my way. Get out of my way. Get out of our way. Whew, yeah, what a long one. Guys, welcome to it once again. It is season 2, episode 28 of the Slyso TV podcast. It is a Monday. It is crazy. If you ask me, it is the 2nd of March, 2026. It's been eventful. And by the way, first of all, ndifuna ubulela wonke umuntu ondithumele umyalezo saying happy birthday. It was on the 28th. It was in my entire life the best birthday I've ever had. Okay, we will not delve into that. That's not the reason why we are here. But anyway, welcome to it, and thank you very much for your patience. Thank you for your patience, actually. But please, I am waiting for those comments. Once again, usiqalele nje into yobana wena ungubani, usibukele uphi, kwaye usibukele ku-Facebook okanye usibukele ku-YouTube na. Ukhumbule into yobana sathi sisafuna wena usilandele phaa ke ku-TikTok ukwenzela into yobana ke sikwazi into yobana i-podcast ivele naphi, ivele naku-TikTok people. Man, what a crazy I had to change 2 stories that I had planned as an Amhlanje, and I was like, no ways, no flipping ways am I letting go of these ones. One of them is a world exclusive. You will remember I told you about IOL, which is largely our source of news, which you often get on the ticker there at the bottom to elaborate on the stories that we bring you. My goodness. Oh, Tataka Elon Musk, right? Like I made a silent promise that I'm never going to talk about Elon Musk or his siblings, his family, or whatever the hell. But after this bombshell, I was like, there is no freaking way I'm not gonna be talking about this story. You know that guy Mosi goes off the tangent, right? He just talks whatever he likes. Yeah, abantu abamnyama sabanceda, kwansha kwacima, kwavutha yonke loo nto leyo. Very interesting. He's come up with a brand new one. Oh, let me bring him up. There he is. Can you see which one he is? Guys. Now, world exclusive, coming from iol.co.za. ERROL Musk. Now, ERROL Musk, Tataka Elon Musk. Now, this guy says, now you must know the whole controversy and the conspiracy theorists. Babhizi into yokubana hey le nto inento kwenza ne-Epstein files kwakhona ke namarhe ento yokubana kwa-Epstein yena lowo ungungcothoza, okay, weqela elithile elilwa kwakunye novukelombuso kanye terrorism. Well, u-Elon Musk uthe khanizeni apha ndinichazele mna izinto eziningazaziyo eMzantsi Afrika na everywhere else in the world. It's a world exclusive. Now he says a lot. Ndingekangeni nongena kwi-gist yayo. Abanye babantu ababaluleyo baninzi. Oh my goodness. Inkosikazi kaBill Clinton ubiziwe nayo. Oh, that woman is evil. Zininzi nje. I'm gonna put that story up. My goodness, I hope disifakile. Sikhona soze singabikho. You can read for yourself right here in the teacup feed while I'm trying to get to it, so I can tell you. So he says yena kuyo yonke le ndithethekayo into yobana kwatsha kwacima uthi wethu Slyso mna ndikuxelela izinto bangaxeleli zona. U-Epstein lona kuthiwa uyafuna amathuba ngawokubana njengoba kunzima le nto yobana ndiyibeke kakuhle, uthi amathuba ngawokubana lo mfo uyaphila, uphile qete, akho Epstein wakhomitha i-suicide apha. Yonke le nto ithethekayo wayithetha ke wayimpola nantsi lapha ezantsi, kodwa ke zakufundela nje phaa ekuqaleni, like just to give you uhlupsi lo ugama wena usezawundikhangela ukhe undichazele into yobana well usimamele, well usibukele uphi, usibukela kweyiphi a platform as well. So they say that ERROL Musk says Epstein almost certainly not dead. Jeffrey Epstein is almost certainly not dead and may have been working for an intelligence agency to blackmail powerful people. Not just nje omthina banaxesha lethu asohoywa thina. Okay, but yeah, very interesting. They said that was a bizarre claim made by ERROL Musk after newly released Epstein files showed his sons. Lamjita owner iTesla and the billionaire Elon Musk kwakunye nomnye unyana wakhe Kimball. They were rubbing shoulders with the disgraced financier more than a decade ago. Now this happened about well over 10 years ago, and most yababantu bamane bekhonjwa ngoku bamane besithi no, we didn't know back then, but hey, kuthiwa kaloku i-shenanigans ezi zaziqhubeka phayana kwavela nabantu natyatyum. Zukhumbule into yokubana kuyo yonke le nto yenzekayo, I know I'm digressing a little bit. uBill Gates kungekudalanga usanda usayina ngoku an AI deal with Pentagon, one of the biggest deals in history. And this is the guy who that was supposed to speak in India, wayikhansilisha emveni koba kuvele into yokubana kwayena Bill Gates lowo ukhona kwi-Epstein files. Wavela wakhansilisha, wathi esakugqiba ukukhansilisha uBill Gates wacela uxolo ngento yokubana ibandakanyeka nto akho nto kucaca uba ifishi ngayo kodwa ii-files ingathi azithethi loo nto. So it's a lot of people. Now these are powerful people that ERROL Musk is talking about. You will remember abo Bill Clinton baphayana, you will remember anyone that you can think of, right? Yeah, all popular. Khona le rumors into yobana u-Oprah wakhe wayimedi ka-Epstein, but ke zii-rumors nje ezo. But yeah, sticking to the story, guys, and now this was a decade ago when Elon kwakunye noKimball onyana baka-ERROL babedibene kwakunye. Now yonke le nto uzoqala uyithetha emveni koba ii-files ziye zaveza into yokubana onyana bakhe bobabini babepha, like both his sons were fingered. They were there, they were rubbing shoulders with Epstein. Now, they say that Epstein is almost certainly not dead. S.A. born Musk, who lives in Langebaan, by the way, he told IOL, yeah, the weekend is the weekend linge, even into his knees, okay? But that was obvious from day one to anyone with half a brain. Akchomna, kucho ERROL Musk. What do you like? I mean, how can you like, we appeal? Okay, it says that the Epstein was convicted. He's a convicted sex offender and accused pedophile who was the center of one of the biggest sex trafficking scandals in the United States of America. In July 2019, he was arrested on federal charges of sex trafficking underage girls. I was 66. A 66-year-old was accused of abusing dozens of minors at his home in New York and Florida, as well as his private island, Little St. James, which is like the U.S. in the U.S. Virgin Islands. While awaiting trial in New York in August, he was found dead in his cell. You know, you will remember all the controversy. There are 3 seconds. Is it 3? It's more than 3 seconds, something like 3 seconds. That is actually missing from footage on the day that Epstein allegedly unalived himself. Okay, to be politically correct. So everybody has been saying like, no, there's no way. Now there were rumors, Gwagdala, this guy, more than anything, he is a fixer. He is high roller, obviously we could see that. And most importantly, he is a spy. The broer is a spy. Yeah, so those are some of the things that came out of there. And Musk said he believed into yobana like baye bamphusha ke ngizama ukubuza into yobana like fundini like uyazelaphi yonke le nto lena wena ERROL Musk, okay? Wayibalisa ke nento yobana hayi kwatsha kwacima onyana bam 10 years etshatile, unabantwana, zange akanabe wadibana kwakunye ne-underage girls. Ezi girls wena xa ucinga uchazelwa kuthiwani hayi kuthi kwakuthiwa ba-underage uthi hayi babengabonakali ngathi ba-underage, uthethela ntoni yena? Yonke le nto utata kaMusk. So I was like, The current story that you're probably picking up on the news right now. And now the question you might ask with all of these things that happen, guys, now uzibuze into yobana isitori sethu esilandelayo, our next story, by the way, has to do with the South African president, right? South Africa. Now uzibuze the sequence of events. You know that thing, you know, by coincidence, you know, now there's this world exclusive ERROL MUSK saying that Epstein almost certainly not dead. Okay, he even said so. He was pushed by IOL into yobana efonini, so xa usithi lo mntu wayengumngcothoza ovukela umbuso yonke loo nto leyo, uthi well, ii-rumors zezinto yokubana Epstein lona, he was rumored to be Mossad. Now, Mossad is an Israeli intelligence and counterterrorism agency. Now, a lot of people have seen, even on social media platforms, umnqwazi weJoni apha phakathi kwi-picture. Usually iJoni lidla ngofaka ipicture mhlawumbi yosapho okanye umntana okanye unkosikazi wakhe njalo njalo, you know, yeah, besenza loo nto leyo for sentimental reasons and all of these reasons. But kulena ibisenza i-rounds kwi-social media platforms, it had the face of none other than Epstein. And yonke le nto, Donald Trump is not saying anything about into enokwenza ne-Epstein files. Uyiphika ame ngomlenze omnye into yokubana uyabandakanyeka, but yeah, izinto zimane zivela. Okay, yeah, so that was a very interesting story. So I had to prepare that one for you before we go and do anything. I was like, asizoniphosa ndizakuphathela. Now we move on, guys. It's gonna be a very short one. It's going to be a very short one today. Now, PHALA PHALA report declassified, but still locked away. This is according to the current acting police minister, Kachalia. Okay. She's like, no, this thing is out there in the open, you guys. Please don't come and bother us. But there's a catch kuyo yonke loo nto leyo yase-PHALA PHALA. Sisaya nakwezinye ezi-interesting. Khona omnye umfo othe uya kwagqirha, nazi noba uye kusangoma okanye uyephi na. But they said that the PHALA PHALA report declassified, but still locked away, according to Kachalia. Okay, acting police minister Firoz Kachalia has confirmed that the Independent Police Investigative Directorate IP'd report, okay, into the 2020 burglary at the President Cyril Ramaphosa's PHALA PHALA farm has been declassified, yet it remains out of public reach. Yeah, and I'm like declassified, but as like what's going on? Okay. Now, he was responding to a written parliamentary question from the African Transformation Movement, ATM in short. No. That report's top secret status was lifted on the 2nd of February, meaning. Yep. So after kuthiwa yonke lento yenzeka after IPID reconsidered the original grounds for classification, after considering the initial reasons for the top secret classification and public interest, IPID came to a decision that the classification is no longer serving the purpose. This is what the acting police commissioner of the Republic of South Africa had to say. But in the same breath, he made clear the report is not for general release. This is what I'm talking about. It's still classified, but kutheni ingekho zezandleni zethu nje siyiphicothe sikhangele into yobana kwenzeka ntoni na. Enye yezinto ndiye ndagilana kwakunye nazo ufumana kwami story ngcola kwakunye nomnye umntu obandakanya oyinxalenye yala maqela ezopolitiko ayelandelela into yokubana mayibe declassified. Uyayikhesh uba yeyiphi na? Uthi ke yena ke isithethe sabo, well, ininzi into esiyibonayo apha, sizibuza into yobana i-timing yayo yonke le nto. Why is it declassified now that there is Madlanga Commission, there is the ad hoc committee that is looking into the South African police service? Now, he goes on to say, into yokubana kuyo yonke le nto lena masingayisusi into yokubana Hey, the boys in blue, amapolisa aseMzantsi Afrika. Nangona kwakusithiwa uphando lobucala, nangona kuthiwa uphando lobucala, okay? But amapolisa oMzantsi Afrika xa bejonga iripoti asetyenziswa, okay? So it's very interesting. So there are a lot of missing pieces. So which is the timing of it all. Mhlawumbe ezi zinto zihleli zizawuvela kakade kwiMadlanga Commission nakwi-ad hoc. Uzokhumbula into yokubana kwa umongameli weli loMzantsi Afrika, Cyril Ramaphosa, he was pitted to that he was going to be called into the Madlanga the ad hoc committee, one of the committees, GE Pass. Okay, ufuneke evelile kuthiwa ke akaziwa noba kuzawuvela ubuqu okanye mhlawumbi ke njengapresident uzawunikwa ithuba lento yokubana aphendule imibuzo ezawube efakwa phaa kuye. Very interesting stuff happening in South Africa, guys. So that is the one that we have around the president of the Republic of South Africa. Now they say that IPID has decided to declassify it, but it's going to remain out of like it doesn't make sense. And I think ATM is rightfully asking in like what do you mean? And nakhona i-timing yayo yonke lento kutheni senzeka ngoku, yintoni lento izawuvela niqonde into yokubana mayinithi pha ngoku. So there's a lot, and it's very interesting because we've been wanting to know as South Africans, and we've been fingering cupcake for all of these things. The city is isa, so it's a very interesting one. The Queen joins me. The Queen joins me.
Hi.
How's the Queen doing?
Gosh. Good. How are you, Sly?
I'm good. Has it been hectic like it has been for me? I'm sure I'm sweating.
It's very hectic. It's very hectic. Hectic Monday. It's just been a crazy week. So I was like looking and thinking that in actual fact, a lot is going on in the world.
In the world.
Yeah. In the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enye yezo zinto zenzekayo zichaphazela thina directly. I mean, taking I'm obviously talking okokuqala the Israel and Iran war that has been going on, I think, since 1953. Yeah, the money go on and off between the United States of America and Iran. We'll get into it a little bit later on as one of our stories. But apho is-affecta khona uqala ngoku ngoLwesithathu, umzekelo amafutha enyuka, idiesel uzawubhatala into engapha kwe-16 cents ngoku. Uyakhumbula ibisanda kwehla ngoku sisaqala ucelebrate?
Yes, we were just celebrating now. So, oh my goodness. Oh. Yeah. But then was it the plan Trump when he was getting to bully Venezuela to make sure right as far as oil is concerned?
So to make sure bona sorted before they disrupt. Well, you can. That's what a lot of people are saying, and you can't put anything past a person who said as early as 2024 that he will not go into war. He will not invade other countries. They need to fix the United States of America. This guy has taken America to at least 6 wars since he returned for his second term. So you can't take anything he says seriously. But meaning that it's not just a conspiracy theory that they invaded Venezuela, Gala, and now they're coming and they're saying in Israel, you can go ahead and attack these ones. And this is projected. And it's going to have far more reaching consequences. I think there's a hashtag going around, hashtag World War III. This means that we might be seeing a lot of nations are getting oil yabo from that channel that is now closed, that goes past Iran. So it's, a lot of countries. I mean, over 50% of oil, say China comes through the channel and they are unable to get it. So that means in the economy in China is going to collapse,
Yeah.
And now word is that If that is the case, China, having seen abantu abafana kwakunye ne-United Kingdom besithi bayangenelela bencedisa, in fact emveni kweza bases zase-United States of America kuthiwa baye that
Yeah.
they struck Iran, yathi i-UK sizaniboleka ezethu that are closer so that you can fight from there. And now they've discovered into yobana ii-missiles zase-Iran ayizozodlala, kuthiwa ziyafika e-Europe, so they better be careful. So iChina nayo ilindile ubona into yobana kwenzeka ntoni na. So we're living in very interesting times, and I think izinto zingatshintsha just like that, Toto.
Yeah, it's so unpredictable, this thing. But it's so, for me, I think the frustration when it comes to the nations, right, and how they are responding to, because I think in the USA phakathi yonke lento we know, the instigators, right? And I don't know which country is it going to take and which nation is going to take that it gets destroyed and bullied by USA for other nations to stand up against this, because this terrorizing of other nations is something that keeps on happening, only to benefit one nation. I don't know if that actually is, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, maybe there's more to it than just what we think we see. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I certainly also think that there is more to it than is being said and out there.
Yeah.
The minutes the United States of America, it can't just be it's military power that gets them to bully countries as much as they do. And given, for an example, I mean, like, there's a timeline. We definitely won't be going through it today, but there's a timeline in terms of the squabbles between Iran and the United States of America. They date back as far as 1953. There was an operation called Operation IX or IJEX. WaseMzantsi Africa. Now, they started in 1953, and I read at some point recently during the last strikes between the two countries, when Trump says we send bombers to get rid of their nuclear blah blah blah. In Dokbana, the sheikh, they call them the supreme leader. There was a supreme leader who was pro the United States of America at some point, I think before the 80s, because these things got revived again in the 80s. So who was pro United States of America when they were digging for oil, when they were opening up companies, they used a lot of companies from the United States of America. So there was a community of Americans in Iran. So throughout history, and I think now Iran has been uninterrupted, since the last one who said, "Anfuni Nixon okwenza kwakunye the United States of America." And I think the US, I hear this conspiracy theory thing with Israel. It wants to expand itself in the region and blah, 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 and all of that. But I think this it is in their interest as well, because they are an ally of the United States of America. So that means Israeli companies will obviously, when they've bombed it to the ground, like they've done with Libya and Afghanistan, and say we are putting in a new world order. That new world order means in Dokbana they are going to pick and choose who sits in government, who's going to look out for the interest of the United States of America. And look, you cannot talk about this war without the United States of America, and the fact that they would be there without being called. And like, who's going to stop the United States of America from bullying everybody?
Yeah.
Because they started with Venezuela, and I think China had interest there. Other countries had interest there in the oil and shares and companies that were stationed there. Now they're saying, okay, how about we strike that one? Who knows if the G7, ihlala yodwa, which are the powerful nations in the world, bahlalele
Yeah.
khona into yobana, like, this is the strategy, this is what we're going to do. Let Netanyahu attack Qala, and then the United States of America will come in. We will also nati as Italy and all of these other countries, the UK, and nati sawungenelela to make sure that we win. It's a very crazy thing, but at the end of it, I'm thinking we're talking over 8 billion people in the world, and most of them are going to be affected, like just human beings like you and I,
Yeah.
who are thriving over a war by powerful people. So it's a very crazy one.
So
It's not as
surreal.
crazy as,
So surreal, actually.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
And I
We
can't
could
imagine
be.
how traumatic it is for people that are in the Middle East. Also, I mean, I was watching the news yesterday and just getting commentary from someone who is in Dubai, our fellow South African who's there. I'm not sure whether she's studying or she's working, but just talking about being pretty much on lockdown and just can't really get out now, kind of like stuck and just have to sit through and wait things out. I can imagine how anxiety provoking that is for people, and just how uncertain it is for them, and scary, because I mean, we're talking about bombing here. This is a serious threat to people's lives.
Yeah. Very interesting as far as that is concerned. I think I saw it on social media platforms. This guy is from South Africa. He was traveling through Dubai and meeting up. He had a layover. So cloud 20-hour, layover. They give you a hotel. So it's like I Australia, and there's a Cape Colored dude. Me, I'm just going to Australia, and then I'm like, I call my friend, and like, yeah, we're gonna hang out, and then like we walking, check, we like moving around the streets, and then I'm like, hey, bro, what is that? Fireworks, But it's amazing. It's like take a South African and put them in any situation that we are just not fucking scared.
Yeah.
Other people that were getting interviewed, they were scared, they were crying, they were like, as South Africans, and I'm like, hey, and then we just check. And I'm like, this guy, this bra I'm with, he can't see clearly, so he's not. I'm like, hey, what's going? What did that is how it actually started, and
Yeah.
now being given a stay at the hotels, and apparently the leader in the UAE said that the people who are in that area, Goma, Dubai, and all of that, I think there are about 20,000 people that were catching connecting flights, some of them being
Yeah.
tourists. 20,000 of them. The word got out in Dokbana Uti, ihotele mazingabe zisokolisa zicharge abantu kusithwane, let them stay as long as they have to, because it's risky to fly out.
Yes, to fly
The
out. Yeah.
airspace is closed. So uthi ibill izaba yeyethu. Bayeke nabantu bahlale, bayeke nabantu bonwabe. Now, lastly on this one, there were this security thing and people's experiences. There was a guy as well. I also caught up on social media platforms. A PhD in the security, 20 years experience, and he was just talking on his social media platform, saying that, like, look, it's the safest place to be. I was talking particularly in places like Dubai, that
Yeah.
you only need to stay away from air bases or military bases. But if you are a
Military bases.
civilian, you are safe as possible. So war will not affect you, even though there is a small margin of error with calculations. And when I say is our
Yes.
yeah. So very interesting, man. It's been a crazy week. And then Donald Trump, when he's being asked, well, was our team, because he also has
Yeah.
casualties. And you know how the United States of America lies. In those bases being attacked, I am quite sure in Dokbana there are more than 3 people that died from there, but they say that it's only 3 soldiers
Yes.
a couple of thingy. So when asked in the banner, like, okay, how is this situation? How long is this situation going to go on? He said it will take between 3 and 4 weeks or less. So this thing
Yeah.
birthday yam on the 28th is going to go on for quite some time.
Wow.
Yeah, and we might end up. Well, we've also gone through the ERROL MUSK. Is it going to go Epstein? The likelihood is that he's not dead. Dude could be alive. And he only says this. He only says this in an exclusive interview with IOL, which is our main source of news. Shout out to them for allowing us to use their content. But he says that because both his sons were fingered, that they were in the Epstein files. They rubbed shoulders with Epstein about 10 years ago. I don't know whether that's what prompted the interview with IOL, which is a world exclusive. In Dokwana Obanyana Bake are not like that. They've been married, they've got kids, blah, 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 and all of that. But the main thing that he talks about is that chances are Lomfo, the Twangungotoza. Mossad has Israel, which is counter terrorism and blah 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 and all of that. So he says the chances are he's still alive. And asiyazi noba uzama ukusifaka isande emehlweni from what's really happening.
Elon Musk is always like somewhere somehow involved in all of these scandals. Like akaphumi ekuthetheni nje.
All right, in so much that but wade wavana notata wakhe babekade bengavana ndithi wade wavana notata wakhe and now bayathethelelana. Nakuba nangoku akaphendule Elon Musk. He has not said anything about himself being in the Epstein files. Instead, he threatened with Donald Trump. Yeah, Gandhi ukona. So it's a very interesting game that they are playing. It's gonna be nice to see Ndobani zawuphelela. And the last one before we go,
there's rich people. Yeah,
they are bored. They are bored when you have so much money. Yeah. Now, before we go to the Momo, we've got my boy, Brian MOGOTSI. Brown MOGOTSI. Now, Brown was supposed to appear. He was supposed to appear in the Madlanga commission today. Again? Yes, this guy is supposed to be the commission. He was supposed to be there today.
Is he the one that he sent his lawyers to say, "Bana, he's sick, he's not well," and the commission?
Yeah, wathi kabaxelela uba ndiyagula iphepha likagqirha lizawulandela. So mhlawumbi uzawubuya esithi bendiye kusangoma.
Wow. No.
I tell you not to lie to you. So that's Brown MOGOTSI calling in sick. But ke ngoku uTata Madlanga uchinje apha ebusweni, because if you notice, there's also, I think it's witness F, if I am not mistaken.
Yes.
Jotted it down. I think it's witness F, who was supposed to appear and also said like akazukwazi usesibhedlele, and even iphepha lakhe was very dodgy because everything else, according to uTata Madlanga, it was legible, they could read, except the reason why he cannot appear. So Brown very interesting to South Africa.
These people,
they certainly are taking chances, and I think I don't know what they expected. They expected to be treated with kid gloves. Like Oganye, they were going to intimidate people. They've tried to kill some. It's very interesting. So South Africa right now, where we are sitting at, and mine was just in the banner, guys, please, let's just fix this country. It doesn't matter what it is. Let's just do something. Let's celebrate the nurse, Cecilia Makiwana, I posted the other day. Let's celebrate somebody else who's doing something phenomenal, so that we can start building that community repertoire amongst ourselves. Yo, good unesubani bani, hayi xa umakhulu egula bedla ngoyobuza phaa kuye. Oh, ntoni. Oh, utata upolisa phaa kwabantu ba. You know how how community used to be, when we used to celebrate. Even yo uyaphangela ke la uyasebenza ke la mntana phaa kwa Old Mutual undenzele right nento zam. Like, be that trusted person that people want to go to. And I think 2026 it's always been my silent prayer, and every episode I always say that it is time for us to fix South Africa, just like that Nikompup bike yavela ye construction isuka ngapha kulamazwe ngaphandle i-director imessage yayo to president we-South Africa sithi jo andithi ke lokhu nithi ngamakwerekwere nanga ke ayasebenza namhlanje South Africans zakho wena President Ramaphosa ziyotya Valentine's Day. Umuntu akanayo nemali yale Valentines uzamthengela ntoni umfazi wakhe? Jong. Yabona aba bantu nithi balapha ku-country illegally yakhawuleza ya-raidwa very fast kangubana namhlanje ikhona another raid that happened at a construction company. Now these people are building houses, developing houses for urhulumente. Don't ask me how they got the tender to do that, but it was found out into yokubana amaphepha abo are fraudulent. Amaphepha and yokubana abe yeke into yokubana they've got a number, high number of illegal immigrants who are working there. So they closed that construction now. So they are going after construction companies in looking at these things. Now you will remember George Ganene, the collapse of the building.
Yes,
and quite
George,
recently, another one in Durban. So let's fix the country.
And the sad part is that with all this corruption, there's a lot of South Africans who wants to work, who are patriotic, who wants to see the country, moving forward, being rebuilt in the right way, contrary to this narrative of when South Africans are lazy, they want to cut corners and blah, blah, blah. South Africans are, investing in their education. There are many educated South Africans who are sitting at home who want to be, who want to use their skills and knowledge to actually contribute, but the stumbling block in South Africa is the corruption. I think that is one of the biggest, at the moment, threat, right, of our democracy, of just anything that is progressive. That corruption, I think, is what is standing in between South Africans who want to make a difference.
Yeah. And I think, Toto, if we were to not confuse ourselves or be confused by politics, if we were to take off our political party t-shirts, our convictions to these political parties, and become a community of people that is driven by the fact that there is a drug dealer, whether he is foreign, whether he is documented or not, that should be reported to the police. Let's just start something. Let's just start a movement that is community based, where we say in the banner, like, we don't care if you are IFP, if you are EFF, if you are ANC, if you are DA, if you are whatever. Can we come together as the people who live in this estate and say in the banner, this is what bothers us? Let us masikhangela be-estate elandelayo, masikhangela benye ilandika, up until you are in numbers and you say enough is enough. That is the kind of fixing that I am talking about. Not people going out nezikipa zabo ze-political parties, just at community level. I get emotional.
So being accountable, as Upili would say, like, you are the government. You
are the government. Our South Africans must know.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we can only adopt that mentality, I think when us Slyso, we definitely could start seeing, I think, changes in our country.
Even if you played soccer for bushbucks or like whatever, just try to gather those boys like abafunayo. You don't have to beg them,
Don't talk about soccer
abafunayo.
and because One Chiefs are Abako right for now. So don't go talk about soccer now.
Makoshi for life. Ala wat yala geneek jong.
They are breathing through the
Yummy.
wound, and I have very close friends of mine and colleagues who are not very happy right now, but I have offered to give them free counseling, so don't worry. My sister also my little sister
Oh
also being one of
wow.
those people that are going very much free counseling. I will not charge, don't
Oh
worry.
man, I think I've got two. I've got two diehard fans I know. I think Zabatengeli voucher or whatever, and Zabapatalela for a session with you as well because hey, I'm a go by a muruga. God damn, it's so very hard to be a Kaizer Chiefs fan, man. You,
Yeah.
you, you,
That was not.
you.
That was a very big surprise. That was unexpected, to be quite honest. It was like a clean out. That was so unexpected. I thought it was gonna be one of those, draw type of games, but yeah.
Look,
Anyways,
I'm not even a soccer fan, right? Much, but I can tell you from where I'm standing, Bola Orlando Pirates is far more superior in all aspects compared to Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs is like one of those teams ethathe yadityaniswa. Oh, wena uvela ubusemdantsane iveki yonke. Okay, cool, shabiza silapha Vincent. Usuka apha eKing, usuka eKomani,
mm,
badityaniswa abantu. There is no intention whatsoever. You grab the ball, you are not moving forward. You look at how Orlando Pirates plays. I'm not even a fan, your Orlando Pirates or soccer for that matter, but
yeah,
I've watched a few games. You can see in Dogmana these guys have mixed skill, kasi football with the intricacies, the sophistication,
yeah,
the importance of accuracy, the importance of positioning. You can see in the manner this team. The same with the Sundowns. Those are the two
yeah.
teams I look at, and I'm like, East standards as a South African this judge up. Unfortunately, Chiefs fans, I don't see you guys anywhere in that space. Unfortunately,
Oh
you
man.
nonsense,
Oh.
man. You jellyfish, mark. Queen, what do we have? Kumomo. Yo,
Oh.
siyamuruka sonke. So I'm
And you
very
know what?
interested
Actually,
in
I was
finding
going to
out.
say let's not have Momo today. I feel like Difuna just to have a conversation. Maybe let's have a conversation because with everything that's happening, Siagoa, right?
Mm.
With everything that's globally happening, of course, with all of these things, but in the country also Siagoa because again the economic pinch as far as the middle class is concerned, and the you know um, people that are in dire situations also just experiencing it. I was just thinking, Slyso, today, Bana, I wonder what is it that keeps you as a South African, that keeps you getting up, every single day to show up for whatever it is that you have to show up for, whether it's parenting, whether it's school, because right now it's really tough for a lot of us. It's really, really tough. Yeah, and I was just kind of like just having this. As I was driving back from Wakuba, I wonder about what is keeping South Africans, because South Africans are very resilient. We know that, we've always been told
Yeah.
also, but we're a resilient nation, and I believe that. But with everything that's happening and just a whole lot of socioeconomic difficulties that people are faced with, the violence that people are faced with, and of course, don't want to talk about the corruption that is also adding just, pressure and
Mm.
frustration. What is your source of inspiration? Because at the end of the day, it's like, so we have to we have to continue to find reasons, right, to get up, to to do what we do, to inspire even the young generation. I also find myself worried about what are we doing, Tina, to make sure the younger generation is inspired, right? Is motivated to do better. What makes us as this generation tick when the next generation is looking at us and be like, yeah, what is inspiring about us? What are we doing?
Let's jonga
And I thought,
sideways.
yeah, I thought it's just a question, maybe something we can reflect on, and something we can all ponder on about what exactly from your day to day just living, what exactly inspires you, who inspires you in this day and age. Yeah.
Yeah. I think those people, especially on Facebook, I know they are quite reactive. So please do share with us, like, what gets you up in the morning?
What gets you up?
What is the thing?
Because I mean, Slyso,
And
like you
we
said, I think as much as yes, and of course, there are serious issues that we are experiencing, and like I said, we are going through, I think, a challenging time. But there's so many inspiring things that South Africans are doing, right? And the 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 downside to media is that the media gives us one side of the story. They tell us all the things that are going wrong, right? And we rarely, hardly hear about the inspiring things that the people that you and I also look up to, who inspire us, get up to do. In the midst of all this crazy stuff that's going on in our country. There are people that doing amazing things in their industries, in their families, in just in the spaces that they are in. And I thought to myself, well, I think it's so important in this day and age to find that inspiration and to really have an anchor, because very easy, very quick, you can get overwhelmed and you can lose hope, and you can find yourself, being hopeless, being helpless, and just in despair, really, about the situation that we found ourselves in.
look, I'm far from religious. But I think for a lot of people, the first source is that unseen, believed power that presides over you and all of that. I think a lot of people do that. You pray every day, but you can only pray so much.
Yeah.
You need to dig deeper than that.
Yeah.
The prayer is not going to put food on your table. When you wake up without
No.
a job, when you wake up uninspired, it doesn't matter how much bread you have at home. Against the sandwich, like dead forever,
Yes.
that you're gonna eat during lunch, because the only thing that motivates you is like lunchtime going to work. But that can only go for so long. You need something, a fire that is in you, like a sense of purpose. And I know in the like throughout my just living life, like I've always been a person in pursuit of, for starters, it was something unknown that I think I knew I had, um by virtue of the spaces that I would be in, given my career. And I'm like, Slyso, why is it going to be you waking up the Xhosa speaking nation? Um,
Yeah.
um, um, where do you get this? It was a very tumultuous time. Like, I hardly slept, I could hardly keep a relationship, I could, like, but I was good at what I did, and I poured all of it into that. And you suffer burnout, and you need to grab somewhere. So I would have these moments where I go meditate at the beach. I would cycle, I would practice, meditation most times, um, and these would help, because you have that man in the mirror moment, Michael Jackson, where you look yourself in the
Yeah.
mirror and you're like, oh, the nose, Nasekai, oh, no, no. And you look at all the features and you're like, beyond that, who are
Yeah.
you? What are you looking
Yeah.
for? And I think as a people, it's a very scary thing. I think, like, you probably even understand from your profession, where you're just standing there and you're like, I'm looking for reason why,
Yeah.
I inflict pain on myself and end it all because the job is not enough, because the relationships I have are not enough, and all of these things. I think there's a sense of purpose. You always have to, even if you don't know what it is, you always have to find something that you are in pursuit of. And I think for me personally, being in a big platform like Umhlobo Wenene, it was like I thought I knew South Africa. I thought I knew who I'm talking to when I'm on radio, but each time we went on tours, each time Kubekwe weekend free, and I'm like, you know what? You're making a bit of money. You are still a bachelor. You live by yourself. I'm like, I'm gonna take a drive to Cape Town. I'm gonna take that gig and go hang out with people, in these different communities. Doing CSI work for me, I'm up until to date, it's still that one thing that gives me a sense of purpose beyond everything else. So I think for each and every person with this important question that you're asking is that people need to identify. Do not try to mimic. Do not try because it's outside that needs you. You can't say I'm gonna live like Slyso. Hopefully, I'll be like one day. Sporty as Utoto and do all of these things. Maybe it will. It needs to take something from you, and in most times it's be lonely. Sometimes it's going to be painful. Sometimes it's going to get you stuck. It's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you cry. But there is that something that you need to pursue that brightens up your eyes, like sometimes. So I think for me, even for young people, finding role models is important. Don't get me wrong. You can look up to Slyso, you can look up to Toto, but you need to find that inner voice that you always ignore. They talk about it, like something. That inner voice is exactly what you're listening to. My God, I feel like I'm preaching. But it's a very, very, very important question you are asking, because we're going through a lot. Somebody's losing a job.
It's very. I mean, it's a very philosophical. I like that you went there, Slyso, because it's a very philosophical question. It's not. It definitely is not a materialistic. It's also not a very superficial type of reflection that I'm asking for, where you're going to say, I like exactly what you're saying, because sometimes I think people assume prayer is the answer, and prayer sometimes is not the answer. It's not going to give you the answers. You've got to dig deeper, because you have to really do introspection, right? And find your why, and find why you are getting up. Why must you get up? Why must you do what you want to do, what you feel you must do? It's very important to be clear on that, because at the end of the day, and I think, Slyso, when I say we're going through a lot, I mean all of us, even the people that have things. This time is such a time where, even if you do have, I mean, the people that are middle class, who are, seem to have their jobs and they have the cars and whatever, they're also going through a lot. They're also going through something, right? And of course, we're seeing now also the wealthy people also going through their own demons as well. So everybody's going through something. Different classes, different genders, different sexualities, whatever the case may be. But the important, I think, for me, is perhaps we need to reflect and just take some time and figure out what is your why, and get clear on that. And if we are clear on that, perhaps even our actions, our efforts are going to be much more impactful in a positive way in the society, in the community. I think sometimes some of these distractions and the pain that is happening in the world is also because people just don't know what they're doing in the world. Like, people just don't know what their role is. Their confusion. So, like, mass distraction. Because it's also it's coming internally. People are just at war internally, and so you can see, like, these are egotistical type of wars.
Exactly.
From people who are struggling psychologically, internally, and of course because they have power, because they are wealthy, and they can make these reckless decisions, and that tells me that I think the world just lacks clarity in terms of why are you here, what is your role, for what benefit, what then for whose benefit, for what contribution, really. And I think more than ever we need to get clear, on that, so that we can, for the next generation. And I don't think we are iteration year two, I don't think at this point in time we are so responsible. Like, so I don't think we think about the next generation as the previous generations thought about, as in terms of the decisions that are just being made. You wonder, do these people have a, like, do they think for the next generation and what they're doing, or is it just purely self, centered type of decision making, for the benefit of just the the elite and the few, that are wanting to eat and make sure that they continue to be the it, and that's my worry.
It's a very interesting take, and if you look at it, there was a time where everybody almost walked around with a blanket over their thingy. Is like, yo, ban Sando Kupinandika, one is progressing in life, and yet we know part of it is because of this corruption. And I think South Africans have also gotten past the point of you can't say that loud. Even go Sly,
Yes.
abantu abanqwakuzayo abafana no Slyso, who are gonna call
Yeah.
out politicians and couldn't give two fucks,
Yeah.
what the consequences are. But every other person is like thinking, like, but you can't say. You can't.
Yes.
Why is Jela? Why is Enzela? Why engenzi ngendlela? It's
Yeah.
because for me, when you are that type of person, it says something fundamental about your own upbringing.
Yes. Yeah.
It says something about your own lack. If I always say uzawukhulela ku 2 rooms, and then in a space of about 10 years you are a person on 5 bedrooms, yes, sharp, you could have been working or whatever, ulala ngengubo zesilk, blah blah blah, you have all of this opulence you can't do without. So that created a shift, and the celebrity or entertainment has always been used, as the yardstick, for
Yeah.
the elites, because fancy house, of a fancy car, landika ngubanibani, a DJ
Yes.
Fresh or banibani and Doni. So even politicians in their dumbness, that was what the aspiration was,
Yes.
because these people were getting sponsored these cars. These people had marketing deals with these people.
Yeah.
Some of them were given houses that they did not own. You know what I mean. And when
Yeah.
uhamba uyoba imali to achieve
To
the
buy
very
the
same thing,
mansion.
or to go out with the very same person. So, excuse me. You were saying something, Quinn.
Lendo insurance, like, so it's really, it requires a personal reflection, doesn't it? It requires at some point to to what end, really, right?
Yeah.
And I find it very funny that wanting to be rich overnight, like after 5 years, when now you must now have this big mention, and because you've worked so hard. And when you have people that have gradually, worked their way and busting, their asses, and sacrificing, and then you have people that hardly even spent hours, and like just honing a particular skill, and then suddenly
Right.
have this fortune, and fleshing it out, to people who are supposedly poor and don't work hard enough, and don't do what is expected to do, only to find out you are just a crook who is actually laundering money, or is scamming people.
for
Yeah.
your generation, this is what I don't understand. As like you're getting all of these things. Yes, your kids get to get better education, or but beyond you.
Yeah.
I remember I used to say this about the Zuma family. I was like, when there was all these things going around, and I'm like, tell me, in the next, I think 10 years, I said at the time, after the rule Kamsholos, tell me, if you were to sit with two CVs, you are an HR manager, you have umdana on a surname Enguzuma, you have umdana in a surname whatever. La Zuma we bonakala ufunde kuzikolo ntonto kwathini, by virtue of you being a Zuma who was associated with the detriment of the working class,
Yeah.
the country, as alleged, and proven in certain instances. So it's the very same thing that when I always say, I'm going to say this because I say it all the time. It's the same thing that people say when they see a white man, a white person standing at a traffic light,
Yeah.
that are not that are non-whites. They look at them begging for money, and the question they ask is, where were you when it was your time to eat, when it was apartheid? For you to come and ask me as a black man in a BMW at the traffic lights for that. Now the very same thing is going to happen whether you are any person that has been implicated in wrongdoing. You are just
Yeah.
getting there to get the house in Stellenbosch, to get a house in Zimbabwe, to get a thing for your own lifespan.
Yeah.
Beyond that,
Yeah.
you've created no legacy for your kids.
Yes.
If
That's
anything,
yeah,
those
that's
things are going to be taken away, you know?
that's my worry. That's my worry, right?
Yeah. It's very crazy. And I think Olinda and Zuzo, we had a conversation today, and we were talking about the people, the fact that people think that they are exempt from consequences for their actions. Or this thing is even getting into younger kids now. In the banner,
Yeah.
like, if, for an example, you defame a person, or you intimidate a person, or if you bully someone on social media, if you what's the word, if you're gonna harass a woman, and
Yes.
you like you this person has got nothing, like nothing says to them in the banner, like, are you aware of the consequences of what you're doing?
Yes. There's
And
no
we
there's
don't
there's
we,
there's
it's
no awareness. And
there's no consequence
it's this
awareness.
mentality also, Bana, they somehow they're special, they're never gonna be caught out, they're never gonna be held accountable, and I don't know, this delusion that people live in sometimes, where they think, no, because it's me, in design, the IT system, you understand, I know how it
Wow.
works, yeah, and I'll make sure
Wow.
that the arrogance, right? In that you are never going to be caught and be held accountable for the
Mm,
inappropriate things that you are doing, because for this moment you are in power, you are in your position,
right.
and your friends are also in the head office, and you think it's forever going to be like that, and you forget that
Mm,
um
mm.
liyajikeleza ivili, sasikhule kusitsho kuthiwa liyajikeleza ivili, at
Yep.
the end
I feel like
there's going to be a time where you must account. And we just, I think sivuselele isazela Slyso today with this episode, just to say, Bana,
yeah.
really, are you being intentional about why you waking up? Because really, for me, I feel like if you are not going to do good, you might as well just stay at home. Like suphuma kokwenu, be
Suphuma
a horrible
endlini.
person in your household, in like my parele payan. Don't
Hmm.
go and go damage other people's efforts, um, and sometimes you have people that corrupt other people in the way that they think, give people ideas as
Yeah.
wrong, and take advantage of young people, even because we see also this thing where, adults who are supposed to be leading and advising corrupting young people, in finding corners, helping a young person to cut corners, to quickly get this way. This is how we get this tender. This is how we, this is how we beat the system type of situation. That for me is worrying. It must be something that worries us. And I guess each and every one of us must then really ask about what is our contribution, what is our why, and for whose benefit are we existing, what is the impact that we are making in our families, in our communities, in the country.
Yeah, I think for young people, I'm just thinking like the importance of hobbies. Kids nowadays don't even have time to play. They're always like quick gadgets. Because back in the day, whether you're doing art or something, you discover a hobby or something that you like. Our kids don't have hobbies. Our hobbies, the hobbies, they are locked in their phones, and most cases and most times they are destructive and disruptive in their progression as people. If you find like an AI app development tutorial, all well and good, but starting with a hobby, I'm like thinking now for those people who are sitting at home, having been failed, because I think whether we like it or not, yes, we've celebrated a lot of young people, young Africans who have been graduating, like I always say, since the year 2000 going forth. For me, I saw something phenomenal where black kids were saying, like, we are going to school, we are going to graduate. And there are those who become the missing middle, or those who get lost in the system, who end up with no options. When he's in Dao, once again, I'm always going to go back to this until the Minister of Education or Higher Education or whatever, to look at TVET colleges. Part of the reason why we have undocumented foreigners, it is because those TVET colleges that were supposed to train those kids with school leaving thingy, back in our time, with the school leaving the pass, that does not get an entry to a university or a technicon. Back then, those people could go into a place where they can get a skill. South Africa should have been one of the leading countries in that. Then we would not be talking about foreigners. Foreigner, foreigner that is not even documented. So that failure, it will forever be urged in our hearts and minds, and as a generation, as far as the political party that has been in rule for the past 30 years, for us to not having been reached there, and let alone that people align with that government, have also been the one who have been given an opportunity to work and be no South Africa, to choose in Dogbana they are going to be corrupt. So that means that something fundamental was not earned, was not promoted, was not nurtured for the growth of this country. It was people who were saying, like they've always said, it's my time to eat. And it's very unfortunate. It's gotten us to this position where we're sitting. I hate to sound depressed, but it is the truth, and hence Toto in the City. And I mean, even at the beginning of the episode, like 2026 should be that year where we start. We don't look down on each other, if you have an opportunity, all the time men talk about how much they hate into kubana impintshi yabo engoSlyso eseGauteng xa ibuyele ihlele eRhangeni nama-gents okanye ihlele elalini nama-gents. Kukho umfana ofuna uncedwa ngento, the only thing I can help them with ibhotile kaMamboyi, ibhotile Gordons, like I'm not passing on skills. And I think this is what I would like to appeal for in 2026, instead of doing that nonsense of buying somebody ibhotile and they must be around you, ngowe umreki and all of that stuff. Please, man, let's look at it differently. Let's empower each other. Xa ubuya, hey, bendenze i-research ngeyeza lo lwa amakhalane, as kuzilwanyane, like, and all of that stuff. Bring something relevant that people are going to celebrate you for giving them a piece of knowledge that they will keep for the rest of their lives, and they will also use it to feed themselves. I'm done.
That's it. So I guess we are saying, like, are you an inspiration? Like, are you inspiring people, or are you on the side that is
Just
frustrating and depressing people?
true.
Because you can't be both. And I guess in South Africa, very quickly people jump onto this one where they're like, well, you are frustrated, I am going to take care of myself type of situation, and just hop onto the train. And I guess we're trying to say, but it has got to extend beyond just you, Slyso, right? You gotta be an inspiration, you gotta be a source at least of an inspiration, in how you live your life. And sometimes it's not even about doing people favors, but it's just about living intentionally, and boldly, and showing people that there are people that we can look up to that embody these good qualities, that also have this forward thinking, this way of uplifting not just themselves and the few people around them, but uplifting communities, uplifting families, uplifting the country. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're asking for, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hope that people that are watching, like, you are inspired right now. You are probably gonna go to sleep, having thought of. And another thing I've picked up, very important, is that the thoughts you keep, or that you entertain going to sleep, are very important. The last thing that you have in your mind, it should be something positive. It should be something about how much of a difference you're going to make in your life, or how you are going to stop being fearful of taking the first steps towards, like, your thinking. So keep positive thoughts going to sleep, because that's what the subconscious is doing at night. That's why you can talk about something in the evening, and you're like, yo, ndapupa, something related to that. It is because that is your mind and its subconscious subconscious state, unconscious state, and you are saying, like, this is the last thing that you think. If you told your brain, like, negative stuff, how are you going to wake up tomorrow? And I think beyond just prayer, guys, I'm telling you, I can put this, I'm not Jesus, I can put this thing full of water here, I can pray until I'm blue in the face, and it's not going to turn to wine. You can
I
put
thought you were gonna say I can
plate.
put water in this glass and turn it into wine.
No, you see, that is the reality that I think we need to face as people. And I know that, like, when I talked with my religious people, I was like, oh, are you an atheist, or like whatever, or like thinking? But I'm like, reality is what people need. You can't come preach the same nonsense that's in the Bible. That does not. You can put a rice payana. You can pray for this entire year. I saw the vutwe by its own. So prayer only assists you person who has a system, who has a plan to implement, not you who just sits there and like, uThixo uzandibona nini, okanye Allah uzandibona nini, okanye amanyanga azandibona nini. Get up and do something. When you move, even if it's one step, you've achieved something. You're going to be inspired to take another one and take another one, and before you know it, you are running towards your goals. So I think
That's it. This guy can talk and talk and talk and talk. We need to wrap this session up.
I'm done. I'm done with nice.
Oh man. And I think we were just trying to, like, we've had quite a few hectic, days and just weird stuff going on. And I'm always I'm an optimist in by nature. I'm not a toxic positive person, but I'm always gonna gravitate towards, okay, so tomorrow, surely I can do better. I can, and I'm always about bringing it back to the self, not Slyso, not looking and waiting for Slyso and then being frustrated because Slyso didn't show up or didn't do what he promised to do. It's about my contribution. What is my contribution? What am I going to do? How do I impact the people around me? How do I shape the society that I am also living into? And that's really the message that I was trying to drive, and the conversation that I wish we could have, Slyso, building up on what you're saying, but let's take responsibility. Let's take the tools, and the tools, not necessarily literally, but the tools in terms of the mindset. I mean, we are brilliant people. We have ideas, people are creative out there. We have skills. Let's come together. Let's build a South Africa that is working for us as people that want to live in it, that care about it.
Oh, man. Well, they say from our mouths to the universe, and to you who is a patron of the Slyso TV podcast, thank you so much for always joining us. We always look forward to your feedback. You guys, like, conversations that we need to have. This, like we always say, this podcast is not about us, me and Toto having this. We need you to join in. We need you to say, Ndabana, I was once in this situation. This is how I got out, so that it doesn't only become our own testimony of how we are not perfect people, as well. We have fallen so many times, chasing goals that we ended up giving up and taking a different route, but not giving up on that dream. And you meet it halfway because you dared to look at things differently. It's still the same old that where you're trying to get to be successful, to provide for your family, to be a patriotic South African. But the route that you currently in right now might not be the one. So take a different one. Be bold enough to say, Ndabana, that's where I'm going. It's not going to happen in the time that I said I want it to happen, but it's going to happen. I'm going to make sure every day I do something towards it. Tada, Queen, thank you so much. My God, I feel like you just made me a pastor today. In the name of
yes, that.
In the name of the crew. That's when you can nathatha nazipilisi isikhaftina tata ufuneka uhlale phaa ungumama umfundisi, uhlale phaa elandikeni efront. Xa umbona ingathi yela ndikumkhumbuza into yobana iswekile yonyuka nasi isikhaftina
and manje nisithi tata ungalimali kaloku
manimnika iscience
laa mcimbi kaloku tata xa ndisithi uyayazi mos.
Nam man bingulo. Koskakhulu Queen, thank you so much, and thank you so much to the viewers as well. Please do follow us on TikTok.
Looking forward to hear your feedback. Please engage, talk to us on TikTok
in the comments,
and Facebook. My Facebook people, please let us have your thoughts on what's going on and the topics that we touched on in Slyso today. And of course, have a good week. Keep positive mindsets.
One love.
Peace.